K-pop news exclusive, the night Tampa lost its sound because of BTS's ARIRANG. In Tampa, on the second night of the ARIRANG World Tour, a phenomenon occurred that not even the production team, crew, or global music observers could have predicted. A giant stadium, Raymond James Stadium, transformed from a sports arena into an emotional earthquake, unleashing the energy of thousands of people in one collective breath. They weren't just spectators. They weren't just fans. They were ARMY, and that night, Tampa didn't just roar. Tampa literally exploded. It all started as the stadium lights dimmed and the warm Florida air descended like a thin blanket over thousands of heads. Within seconds, the screams of the crowd soared to an almost unbelievable level. Even before the BTS members appeared, the sound of ARMY was already ricocheting through the Tampa sky like a thunderstorm trying to find its way. People stared at each other in disbelief. Some even covered their ears, laughing at the sheer volume of the cheers. But the climax came as the opening intro played, the moment the madness officially began. During the opening songs, something almost unheard of in modern concert history happened. BTS's vocals were drowned out. Not because of the sound system, not because of technical glitches, but because ARMY sang their songs with a power beyond human comprehension. A phenomenon that cannot be replicated lightly. A testament to love so loud, so blazing, that even the idols' own voices couldn't penetrate the wave of energy. From the center of the stadium, the view was truly breathtaking. The blazing red lighting that dominated the ARIRANG stage created the illusion that the entire venue had transformed into a moving, pulsating, living ocean of magma. This red wasn't just a visual element. It represented BTS's resurgence, courage, passion, and a new chapter after a long absence from performing in their long-awaited full lineup. Every corner of the stadium seemed to glow. Every inch of the air felt thick with emotion. No one stood still. No one took a breath. Everyone was united on the same frequency, BTS. As fireworks shot from the circular stage into the Florida night sky, the entire venue looked like the center of an exploding galaxy. Light sticks, cell phones, and stage visuals combined to create an unforgettable dance of light. And despite the grandiose production, the emotional connection felt incredibly personal, as if each person in the stadium was speaking directly from their hearts to BTS. Then came a moment that changed the mood of the night. On the giant screen, the camera captured an interaction that successfully brought the entire stadium to its knees for the second time that night. The Taehyung and Jungkook moment. As soon as Butter played, the fans were already screaming. But when Taehyung suddenly put his arm around Jungkook's shoulder with a casual smile, the stadium shook from the ground. The cheers soared higher than ever, like a tidal wave engulfing the entire space. The moment lasted only a few seconds, but the emotional impact felt like a massive explosion. For fans, the small expressions on Jungkook's face and Taehyung's gentle gestures felt incredibly real, as the giant screen displayed every detail with crystal clarity. It's easy to imagine ARMY watching from home joining in the screams, as the interaction felt like it was happening right before their eyes. Then, the spotlight of the night was completely on Taehyung. If I had to describe his performance in one word, perhaps stunning wouldn't be enough. Even spectacular wasn't enough. He appeared in a new black fur jacket that gave off a luxurious, yet mysterious aura. With shiny black trousers and a silver chain necklace that stood out under the stage lights, Taehyung looked like a superstar descended from the future. When Fake Love was performed, Taehyung transformed into a different person, more intense, wilder, more emotional. His body movements blended with the stage fog and BTS's signature purple spotlights. Every step, every breath, every hand movement was clearly captured by fans' cameras, creating a majestic aura that captivated everyone. Many said Taehyung's performance that night felt expensive, and that's not hyperbole. The way he moved, the way he looked at the camera, the way he conveyed the story through his body, it all felt like a living work of art. On the other hand, the phenomenon of BTS's vocals being drowned out by the power of ARMY's voices became a big topic of conversation that night. Many uploaded videos showing how the fandom's voice sounded like a massive chorus of thousands of people unitedly singing BTS songs with passion. That night, ARMY and BTS were no longer two entities. Meanwhile, after the explosive energy of Fake Love subsided, the stage lights slowly dimmed. The red that had previously engulfed the stadium began to give way to a soft shade of purple, a color that had long been synonymous with the promise between BTS and ARMY. It was at this point that the atmosphere shifted drastically. Where Tampa had sounded like a storm, it now felt like a calm ocean harboring infinite emotional depths. The BTS members stood closer to the edge of the circular stage, as if trying to close the gap that no longer existed. They were no longer simply performing, they were present. And ARMY, who had previously been singing so loudly that they drowned out the vocals, began singing parts of the song more quietly, more deeply, as if wanting to allow BTS's voices to be heard again, but still in the same harmony. This is where the true power of the ARIRANG tour was most evident. It wasn't just about how loud the sound could be, but about how thousands of people could intuitively tune into their emotions on the same wavelength. When the men's segment began, every word felt heavier than usual. The smiles they wore were still there, but there was something more honest beneath them. Gratitude, exhaustion, pride, and perhaps a hint of emotion that couldn't be completely hidden. The camera captured those faces in close-up, and once again, the stadium erupted, but this time not with wild screams, but with uncontrollable emotions. Taehyung, who had been the center of attention from the start, once again stole the moment in his own way. When he spoke, his voice was softer, deeper, as if he were truly speaking directly to each individual in the stadium. There were no grand gestures, no dramatic effects, just a strong, sincere presence. And that was precisely where his power lay. Beside him, Jungkook smiled occasionally, gazing out at the audience with sparkling eyes, like someone still not quite believing this was all real. Small interactions between them continued. Brief glances, light laughs, shoulder touches, and each small detail was met with a resounding response from ARMY. As the night wore on, the concert entered its final stretch, but the energy never truly died down. Instead, there was a feeling that every remaining second was becoming more precious. Song after song was delivered with varying intensity, no longer about explosions, but about leaving a mark. As the closing song began to play, the entire stadium lit up again. This time it wasn't red, nor was it entirely purple, but a blend of the two, creating a color that felt like a symbol of the journey itself, from passion to closeness to memories. The ARMY sang again, loudly, yes, but this time not to drown out, but to accompany, to ensure that every note that emanated from the stage would always have a place to return. The final fireworks shot into the Tampa sky, bigger, brighter, as if providing the perfect ending to a night that could never be repeated in the same way. The members of BTS stood in a row, gazing out at the sea of people before them, not with expressions of triumph, but with deep gratitude. And as they finally waved goodbye and slowly left the stage, no one truly felt like it was the end. Because what happened in Tampa wasn't just a concert that ended in a few hours. It was an experience that will live on forever, on video footage, in social media posts, in the hoarse voices of ARMYs returning home with full hearts, and in the memories of everyone who was a part of that night. The ARIRANG tour will continue to other cities. Other stadiums will be filled. The same songs will be sung again. But one thing is certain, Tampa has set a standard that is almost impossible to surpass. And now the question is no longer about how big the next concert will be, but is the world ready for the next chapter of this journey? Because if that night in Tampa was just the beginning, then what comes next might be even crazier than we ever imagined.